All right. Track 7 is called Everything to Lose. I put a star next to this one because I think it at least was one of my favorites when I was younger, or it is now. I don't know. Either way, but I was bopping pretty hardcore to it while I was listening to this song. I just liked how upbeat this one was, and I was like really getting into it, like with my head. I was like, oh yeah, I like this song. At 1 minute 48 seconds, he says, "I'll do everything to push you out, to shut you up, to bring you down, 'cause in this town, what goes around comes around." And he sings it 4 times. And I've mentioned this before specifically with the With the Punches album that we did, but I really like when the artists repeat, the section of lyrics, and then they build around it instrumentally, like stack more and more sounds and instruments and whatnot. And they did that here, and I really liked the energy that it brought, because the first time he sings it, he just kind of says it in like a hushed kind of a tone. But as he keeps saying those words, it just gets more aggressive and more upbeat, and like everything comes in. And I really like when artists do that, and it just sounds really cool. It's just, again, something simple as just repeating words, repeating lyrics, but then just like bringing everything in, and it just, I don't know. I like when I like when songs do that. I also really like at the end. I love fade outs in songs. It's something that I personally just, I don't know why I like them so much, but I do. And this song has a good fade out with the na 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 na, those na-nas and stuff. And I thought it made it like more pop punky, and it was just like more fun. And I really liked that they did that. And then there's also the vocals that are overlaying each other, which I feel like they do quite a bit in this record. But yeah, I liked all those elements, and I think that's what made this song really boppy, I guess, is how I described it. But yeah, I really like this song.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that. After hearing some of your thoughts, after just kind of listening to a couple other sections and some of the notes I had, I realized that this song is actually really, really good. Or it's a lot better than I think I originally gave it credit for. The one thing that I'll touch on that you had mentioned, so you mentioned during, it's kind of like the bridge / outro when he repeats, you mentioned, oh no, it's not the outro, it's the bridge, when all the instruments drop out and he's singing in a lower octave, and then he repeats his those lyrics 4 different times. And what's interesting about that, I didn't recognize it until you had mentioned it, but yeah, so that first time he sings those lyrics, it's just him and a little rhythm guitar going along. And then the second half, or the second section of it, he's singing a harmony part along with it, still in the lower octave, but he's singing a harmony with it. And then when all the instruments come in, he's singing in the normal vocal range. And then during the second section after that, he is singing a harmony on top of that vocal. And it's interesting too, because that vocal is almost like, it's like half screaming and half singing. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's kind of cool because it just gives it a little bit more grit, I guess, where he's definitely singing part of the harmony, but once he hits some of the higher notes, he's almost screaming it, which is kind of cool. But it was interesting because he's singing the same exact lyrics and doing the same notes and everything, just repeating it 4 times, but just adding a different layer or changing it in a different way to make it sound totally different, which is just kind of cool composition overall, where you can literally just play or say the exact same thing, but you just tweak it slightly, and you can do it 4 times, and it sounds different every single time. It's just kind of cool. Yeah. And you can repeat those same sections, but make it bigger and bigger every time. So that was one part I liked, was just kind of especially the vocal point that I mentioned at the very end, where he's like half singing, half screaming on the harmony part in the background is kind of cool. And then right after that, all the instruments cut out, and you just hear the drums doing its little pattern with the vocals. And then this is the song I mentioned where it has like that classic Veara guitar slide going into it. When all the instruments kick back in, it's at 2:38. It does that little guitar slide, and I was like, oh, yep, that was like very much this album. Like they do a lot of little guitar slides like that, and so this is the one that I pointed it out on. I wish I made notes on all the other ones too, but yeah, those were some of my points here. I think the song has a really solid chorus, actually. Like I said, it doesn't stick out to me at first, but after listening to especially during the last chorus when all the instruments cut out and it's just the drums and the vocals, and then the guitar slide in, and then everything punches in for the last chorus. It's like, has really, really good energy. The song is actually really, really good. And like I said, I don't think I give this one enough credit. It's just like a normal song to me.
Yeah.
But looking at all these things in detail, I was like, oh, this song is actually like really, really good. I really like this one. So that's all I've got for that, though.
Yeah, cool. Track 8 is called Only Famous People Get Famous. I've always really liked the title of this song.
Me too. I think it's super funny.
Yeah, I think it's like almost true in a way, but it's like not. Like, it doesn't make sense, but like it also kind of does. Okay, I like, there's the bass at the beginning. I didn't ever really notice the punch that it had. It kind of growls, especially, or specifically at the part when, I wrote when it goes, oh, but I don't know. Oh, yeah. When I was listening to it in my headphones, the bass at that part, when they go, oh, the bass just really has this prominent, like, go. And it just, like, I don't know, it just sounded really awesome. And I didn't really pick that up before until I was listening to it. But, and 19 seconds at the beginning of this song, there's this scream that's going on in the background. And I don't know why. I think I've caught it before, but, like, this time specifically, it was more prominent. And I was like, whoa, that was cool. Like, I really enjoyed that. But anyway, yeah, I really like the beginning of this song. It's really awesome. It just has a lot of cool elements to it, and it just like really punchy, and it just sounds cool. I never really listened to the lyrics, but I loved there's like an analogy or whatever. It's either an analogy or metaphor or whatever other literary device. I don't know what it's called, but he says, I think this bookmark has outstayed its welcome in this chapter of what it takes to be successful. When will this story move along? I really liked that he's relating his life to this, this bookmark is just in this chapter, and it, like, nothing's happening, and the book isn't being read right now anymore. And so we're just kind of at this point where they're just kind of like stuck in, I guess as a band type of a thing. And that actually goes along with the end when he says, at the very end of the song ends, and then there's this voice in the background that's like, he says, hey man, I need to start getting paid for this. And just now, that's like, it all ties. I understand. With what I just said about the bookmark thing, and then the need to get paid for this, I think it's interesting how, like, bands, when you're in a band, and, or just as an artist in general, you only get successful if from other people. Like, the listeners make you successful, I guess, in a way. Because if people don't listen to your band, you're not going to be touring, and nobody's going to know who you are, and, stuff like that. So, I don't know really where my thoughts are going, but I just like the whole concept. It's coming to me now that I understand kind of more what this song is talking about, and I think that's just cool, the way that he said it with that bookmark thing, and then at the end, I just thought it was funny that they put all this effort into it, but it's not really going anywhere type of a thing. And it also kind of goes along with the title, too. So it's just, like, it all combines. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Very, very scrambled thoughts, but anyway, yeah, I really like this song. It's good.
Yeah, this song is definitely really, really high up for me. I have this as an A+ tier song. I love this song. This is one, I can actually play this one on drums. It's really, really fast and really fun. There's a lot of really good drum parts throughout. And so this one was really interesting and really fun for me to learn how to play. I wrote a couple different things. I need to find a specific part. I've said that there's a really good chord progression on the last part of the chorus when the vocals drop out. Oh yeah, so the vocals go, you tell me how to think, but something and do what's best for me. I can't remember off the top of my head. But right after it says, and do what's right for me, or do what's best for me, or whatever, the vocals stop, but all the instruments keep playing. And the guitar, the chord progression, I just really like it. Again, the second note of the chord progression is not technically in the key of the song, but it sounds really good. I've always really liked that chord progression where it's playing the root note for the first couple of notes, and then it goes down to two different chords after that, and that second chord, I think it's the same one. I'd have to check either on my guitar or on a piano or something, but I'm pretty sure it's also that flat seventh that they're playing when they're climbing down the chord progression. It sounds really, really good. I've always really liked that. It sticks out to me a lot. I also really like the halftime outro with the gang vocals. It's the same vibe with the chorus, kind of, but let me find the specific part. It's at 2:05 is when it starts, and it's just the drums smashing with the guitars in halftime, and then the gang vocals are just shouting, "You'll never understand," a couple of times. And so this outro is really, really solid. It just has a lot of really good energy leading out. And yeah, this song is one of their shorter ones. It's actually the shortest almost the shortest. It's the second shortest by 1 second. This one's 2:20. But because the whole song is super fast paced and is going really, really fast throughout. So it doesn't surprise me that the song is so short. But it's a shame because I really like this song a lot, and it would be nice if it was a little bit longer. But yeah, this song is one of my favorites. This song and then the first song, We Have a Body Count, are like classic pop punk songs in my opinion. These are some of the two like super influential songs for me when I found this album and this band, and also just as I was discovering different pop punk styles in general. Those two songs really, really stuck out to me, and I always listen to those two songs a lot. And so this one is surprisingly like one of their lowest streamed ones. It's like their third least streamed. It's in the bottom 3 basically on this album, which is so crazy to me because this is like their first or second best song on the album in my opinion. But what are you going to do? But that's all I got for this one.
Track 9 is called Head for the Hills. I think you were saying something about this town, and I think this song is the classic pop punk Get Out of My Town song, because that's basically all he's saying is head for the hills, meaning to flee or to run, to like get out, and he's mostly just talking about getting out of his town and getting on the road and stuff. And I thought that was funny that I feel like I noticed him saying the word town in quite a few of these songs, or maybe just 2 of them or 3, but as I was listening to it, I was like, wow, he says town a lot. But anyway, yeah, this song at 2 minutes 29 seconds, there's this acoustic mellow section, and I really like when bands incorporate that, because this is like a more, I just thought it was cool how they had this song with all the instrumentation, but then they like bring it down and like bring this acoustic and just kind of like single it out. And yeah, I don't know, I like the sound of it and the fact that they used it. Yeah, I don't know, I don't really have any other thoughts about this song. I like it, but I didn't have any standout moments or anything besides that.
Nice. Yeah, I have a couple of notes. This one also has some, so during the bridge, this is the first song I made a note of about having easy core vibes, even though a bunch of the other previous songs, like I mentioned, did, but this is the first song I wrote notes about it. But yeah, during the bridge, they have super fast chugging section. I'm trying to remember the specific bridge of this song off the top of my head. Oh, yeah. It's when he says, "You are miles away."
Oh, yeah.
And there's, and I can't hold myself back. But during that whole section, they're doing these really fast, not triplets, but they're groups of 3 notes. So it's like 3 16th notes in a row or something, where the bass drum is blasting those really fast and the guitar chugging along with them. So this is the first one I was like, oh, wow, like they definitely have a lot of like really chuggy, easy chord type influence. So I really like that. And I really, really like the final chorus that happens towards the end, right after the acoustic part that you mentioned. It kind of goes back into the normal chorus, and then it repeats the chorus. 2:48 is where it's at. It repeats the chorus again, but it does it in a different time. The drums do, it's got this more kind of a bop, kind of a vibe to it. Mm-hmm. It's just got a good vibe overall. I like the change in the drum beat, or the pattern it's doing to give it that different feel for that last chorus. And I also really like, right when that chorus starts, the very first part of the lyrics is "Head for the Hills," and then there's like another vocal line that echoes it, that also sings "Head for the Hills" right after he sings it, that first part. And I just always like that little repeat that kind of fills that vocal gap. That part always sticks out to me, and I think it's cool that it happens right when that kind of rhythm change happens with the drums, and it's a little more not quite halftime. I don't know exactly what it's called. I would have to write it out to see visually how where the snare is hitting, but it's just got more of a bop kind of a vibe to it instead of just the classic 2 and 4 where the snare is just hitting on the 2nd and 4th beat every single time or whatever. Yeah, that about sums it up for me on this one. I think the chorus is really good for that last section, and it's got some good chugging action in the bridge. So
yeah, I liked what you said about the boppiness at the end. That sounds so weird. Yeah, I noticed that too. I don't know again how to describe it either, but
because it's not head banging, but
but it's just
I'm moving my chest
different.
Forward and backward as I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bopping to this, that's the only word that comes to mind. So.
I like that. Track 10 is called "Getting Kicked in the Face Has Never Been So Much Fun."
Funny one as well.
I love that. I put a star next to this one too because I think I was bopping to this one too, and I wrote I don't know what that means. Let's see.
It's probably the opening vocal.
Probably.
That's 5 seconds. It goes, ooh,
oh, yes, that's right. Ooh, yeah, there you go. I feel like he does stuff like that, like either O's or woes or stuff like that throughout this whole record. But I really liked that. In fact, I was listening to this, because I haven't listened to this album in a long time. And I don't really, Veara is just not in my shuffled, it's just not in my playlists that I listen to more often. But I was listening to it and I was expecting that. And I was like, oh, no, he's not going to say it. Like, that's not what this song is. But then he did. And I was like, oh, I do remember how this song goes. And I just thought it was funny. It was just one of those like, oh, wow, I totally remember that. But I didn't think he was actually going to do it. Anyway, this song has another build-up of repeated lyrics with the surrounded factors building up. And I don't... Yeah, so the lyrics that he's repeating are, she said she'd never forget me, forgive me. And he just says that over and over again. And then they add the to everyone with the layering there. But, this is just another example of it just starts out mellow with not very much, and then it just builds up and up. And I don't know why I like this concept so much, but I do. I just really liked how simple something can be, but you can just make it better by just repeating it and increasing the intensity and the stuff that surrounds it. And I just really like when they do that. And I thought that this one specifically was cool because it also led into a fade out, because this is the last track technically. I'm pretty sure, because isn't the next track called Landslide, isn't that a B-side technically or something? Or is it actually the end of the album and we just never had it?
I'm not sure. We can get to that when we get there though.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's all I had with this one. I really like this song. I think it has a really good vibe, and I like the end. Like when he said, like the vibe of when he says, and with a kiss on my cheek and the sway over her, she surely knew. I like that line right there. Just like feels, with the instruments that they have in the background, it's just like really boppy, and it's just like cool. Anyway.
Yeah, this song I actually didn't really have very much on this one at all. I just made the note that this song is much slower paced overall than some of their other ones. For example, the choruses are much quieter. It's just the drums and the guitar. The drums are doing the fast kind of double bass stuff, and the guitars are chugging to it. And then there's a lot of empty gaps in between while the lyrics are going. And so this one is different for that reason, because most of the other choruses are obviously a lot bigger and fuller with the guitars and bass and everything going along with it. But this one's much more empty. And same with the verses as well, actually. Especially like the second verse, it still has a couple of big like power chord things, but it has the higher pitched lead guitar that's playing a little bit of melody type stuff that is kind of a standout during the verses, as opposed to, and the drums as well are doing a lot of like tom work, and they're not, consistently smashing cymbals like normal sections of songs would be. And so it's just got a different pace overall, or a different sound. For those two reasons, the guitars aren't constantly doing like chugging or power chords and stuff, and then the drums are also giving a lot of gaps from the cymbals, and so it sounds much, not in a bad way, but it sounds like emptier, like there's just more space that could be filled, obviously, if the cymbals were going and the guitars were chugging. But I don't think I had any major notes on this one. I do like this song, though. I like the My guess is that the title of the song, Getting Kicked in the Face Has Never Been So Much Fun, is probably in regards to, it's not really a breakup song, but it's kind of got those vibes where it's talking about this girl, and then the chorus is always saying, read my lips, we're over and done, in best regards to everyone. So it's like kind of like this breakup-esque type song, and, you know, she said she'd never forget me, and how that drones on during the whole outro and stuff. So my guess is that the song is saying that, like, breaking up is painful, like getting kicked in the face would be painful, you know? It's like, that's my guess is why they would be calling it that, or maybe it's some inside joke that makes no sense. But if it had a connection, that's my only guess as to why the song is called that. It's just because getting kicked in the face, it's like sarcastic. It's obviously not fun, and neither is breaking up and moving on from a relationship. It's like, wow, I just got kicked in the face, you know? Like, so that's my guess. But those are my only thoughts really on this one.
Cool. Track 11 is called Landslide. I didn't have a whole lot of thoughts with this one because it's kind of a new song for me. I didn't ever listen to it growing up. Like, I don't know if we had this one, but the only thing that I, like, noticed with a couple run-throughs was that at 58 seconds, there's, like, I called it, like, a pop-punk rap. He's not rapping, but, there's this, just the way that he, let's listen to it. Let's see. 58 seconds. So he's just, like, singing these words in, like, the same type of way, just kind of, like, spitting them out. Yeah. He's not, like, rapping, but, like, it kind of, like, is rap-esque, and I just thought I liked that little element in there. But, yeah, I don't dislike this song. I just don't know it as well, so.
Yeah, I was in the same boat when I was looking up this album and saw this 11th song, Landslide. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I don't actually think I've ever heard this song before. And yeah, like you said, maybe it's some bonus track or something as part of the album, or I don't remember if it was released at the same time as the rest of the album. I assume it was, but I'm not sure, because I don't think I've ever heard it before in my life until today. Maybe I have, but so I'm in the same boat as you, where I don't really have any experience with the song other than today, listening to it a couple of times. And it could be as well that it just wasn't as popular. So this one is their lowest streamed song on Spotify. Again, the average is around like 120,000, and this one only has 86,000, so almost half as many streams as their other typical songs. So again, maybe it's because it was released later and like added on, or maybe it was just straight up not as popular, and maybe that's why I just never listened to it, because I didn't like it as much. I'm not sure. Yeah. So that's interesting as well, because when we listened to the With the Punches album, there was that one song, Corporate Ladder Match, where I was like, I definitely knew this song existed, but I've only heard it like once in my entire life. I totally forgot it was a thing. And so this is kind of in that same boat where I was surprised. I was like, wow, I definitely thought I would have been able to name every song on this album and everything, but nope, this is a surprise one for me. Going back to the lyric, or the section you mentioned at 58, where he's singing that section, kind of those quick parts of the lyrics, as I was listening to it, it almost sounds like it would be a lead guitar part. Like if you were to take away the vocals and just play those notes on a guitar, it sounds like it would just be a lead guitar part almost, which is, I think, maybe what gives it that vibe, like you said, of like that, not rap, but it's that faster kind of pacing to the lyrics. And that just reminded me, as I was listening to it, as you were talking about that, I was like, wow, it almost sounds like that should just be the lead guitar part playing along, you know, next to the normal lyrics. And so I wonder if that's what gives it that vibe, or it's probably just the speed and the pattern of how he's singing things. But other than that, yeah, I didn't really have any other notes on this one, because I've never really listened to the song before, and I did listen to it a couple times, but nothing crazy stood out to me, so I don't know if I would be adding this song to my playlist or anything. But it was a nice little surprise, I guess, because now I've heard a song I didn't knew existed by this band, so it's kind of cool.
I looked up, it looks like it's part of the track list, like it's not like it's part of the album, but it's interesting that like it's not as well known and stuff, so I think Getting Kicked in the Face could have been a better closer because of the way that it fades out too. So I think it's interesting that they made Landslide last. Cool. Any other overall thoughts?
Yeah, this album was pretty popular for me when I was in high school. I listened to this album a lot, and I learned how to play a lot of their songs on guitar as well, back when that was kind of my main instrument that I liked playing. And so I learned how to play almost all these songs, basically, and so I just have a lot of good just memories with this album in general. And another kind of fun note is that their drummer is a girl, which is very weird because not only are girls not super prevalent in the pop punk scene, but the fact that she's a drummer is like extra weird. But she's also like a really good drummer too, so it's like double extra weird because she's like playing really, really fast, like technical double bass type stuff. And she does a lot of really fast fills, and just her overall style is really, really solid. So it's very strange. When I found that out, I was like, what the heck? Like, the drummer's a girl? Like, she's so good. What the heck? So that's just like a fun little thing that I thought was interesting. She posts a couple of different YouTube videos of her doing playthroughs of some of their songs. And so I've watched some of those, and it's fun to see the actual drummer playing through their songs. And that was another random thing that I thought was really cool. This album was one of the main influential ones for me. That I don't remember how I found it, probably from Chris. I'm sure he had this album, and so I ended up getting it from him probably. And then I remember when their next album came out, It's Growing Up Is Killing Me. Yeah, and I love that album. That album is also really, really good. I remember when that one came out, and I remember listening to that album a bunch at the seminary building because it came out, and I was listening to it after school. I downloaded it and was listening to it while waiting to get picked up or waiting for someone else to drive them home or whatever it was. But before that, I had this album, What We Left Behind, and this one was definitely very, very solid and got me into them as a band, obviously, but then also helped solidify my enjoyment of pop punk. So
sweet. Well, peace out.